right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Maybe some of you saw my little call for an audience a few minutes ago. And maybe some of you saw our live shout out on Instagram. So if you're from Instagram, thanks for coming. And I'll give people a couple seconds just to join us before we start. Make sure we're all situated. So I know that it's a little bit windy and I have my earpiece in to try and minimize that and make sure my voice is loud enough. Unfortunately, I can't do much about the wind, but I'm going to try and make sure to talk loud enough so you can still hear me. Sorry if that background noise is a little bit distracting, but we're gonna make it through. So thanks everybody for joining us. My name is Angie and I'm an interpreter for California State Parks. I work up here in the North Coast Redwoods district, that fabulous Facebook page that you're all following. And if you love our Facebook content, go ahead and follow us on Instagram as well. It's at north_coast_redwoods. And that's where we'll be posting lots of fun stuff and activities to do as well. So follow along. Hey everybody, thanks for joining in. I know some of you have just hopped on. So again, my name's Angie and I'm an interpreter for California State Parks. And I know it's a little windy, but I'm going to do my best to talk loud so you can hear me okay. And I know that many of us are inside right now due to practicing good social distancing. So I want to just say thank you everybody who's watching from home on your couch, maybe in your pajamas. I am out at this beautiful overlook and it's a little bit windy. And I am practicing good social distancing while I'm here. I've been constantly washing my hands. I always carry hand sanitizer and I'm kind of sanitizing my equipment as, before and after each use. So those are some of the precautions that we're taking as interpreters. And we're doing this and all these live programs, these live streams every day at 3 o'clock so that we can try our best to bring our parks to you. So I know that many of you maybe aren't able to visit the parks very easily right now. And so we think it's so important that these places are still sort of making their way into your lives and into your homes during this time. So thanks for tuning in. I'm so happy to have you all here and I'm so happy to be here. And without further ado, I'll tell you a little bit about where we are. Maybe some of you watched my live stream last Monday, and I do my programs on Mondays because it is MPA Monday, and some of you might know what that means. MPA stands for Marine Protected Area, and we have tons of MPA stuff going on Mondays, including home learning programs that are delivered by MPA, or Marine Protected Area interpreters like myself. So tune in to those. Go to ports-ca.us. I'll go ahead and post the link in the comments afterwards, and you can sign up for all ages throughout the day, some programs that are about marine protected areas. So thanks for all of you who joined today. It was fun to have 500 students learning at home this morning, learning about MPAs with me. So come and tune in next week, and thanks to everybody else for being here right now. So I'll go ahead and tell you a little bit about where I am. I was hoping to be able to take you down to the beach, but the connection is a little bit spotty out here. So I wanted to make sure you could still see the view and still be able to see me and hear me okay. So I am at a beautiful overlooking Samoa Beach. And this is kind of on the peninsula in between Arcata and Eureka, California in Humboldt County, and sort of within the bounds of the North Coast Redwoods district of California State Parks. And you might be thinking, Angie, there's no state park out there on the peninsula. And for those of you thinking that, you're absolutely right. There is no state park out here, but there is something else that I just mentioned before that is really similar to a state park. It is called a marine protected area. So I'll tell you a little bit about those before I dive in. MPAs, like I mentioned, are really similar to California state parks. They're protected places out in nature. In this case, they're out there in the marine environment that are put in place to protect animals, wildlife, and their homes. And they're really amazing places to visit and learn about, just like our parks are. So I am overlooking one marine protected area right now called Samoa State Marine Conservation Area. And this is one of my favorite MPAs to visit because it's sort of right in my backyard. And if you live in Manila, Samoa, Arcata, Eureka, this is a great place to come, maybe get a walk in, especially if you live in the Manila neighborhood, because we really want to kind of be staying in our neighborhoods the best we can. And that's what I'm doing right now. I actually live in Manila myself. So this truly is my backyard, and I want to welcome you all to this beautiful place. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, I'm Angie, and I know that it's a little bit windy. I'm trying to do my best with the weather, so hang in there. So again, I'm at Samoa State Marine Conservation Area, which is a marine protected area. And I labeled this video Treasures of the Sandy Shore because I often walk near our marine protected area and I find amazing things. And I always notice that the things that I find are usually a bit more diverse when I'm near a marine protected area because the things that live in those places are protected. So they're able to sort of grow bigger and have lots of babies. There's generally higher diversity and higher numbers of animals in MPAs, just like in our state parks, right? And the other day, I was walking on Samoa Beach, right here behind me. It was a little less windy that day, and I found something really awesome, and that's what I want to show you today. It is truly a treasure of the sandy shore, and I want to test some of our followers' knowledge to see if anybody knows what this is called, whether they know the scientific name or the common name. So I'm going to go ahead and show you right now. I know the camera's a little wobbly because of the wind, but hopefully you can still see. Does anybody know the name of this? I know there's a little bit of lag on the comments section, but I found this on the beach the other day, and it really looks like it could be a type of algae or like kelp that was washed up on the beach, because it's sort of the same color and the same texture, and it often kind of blends in with that kind of debris that's on the beach. So this actually is not kelp. Somebody else thought maybe it was like melted plastic, which is unfortunately something that we do find on beaches all the time, plastic. And if it was melted plastic, I would have most definitely picked it up and brought it home because I do not want this going into the water. And it's not plastic. But if you do see plastic on the beach, go ahead and pick it up, especially if you have some gloves. Maybe bring a bag with you and do a little beach cleanup. No matter how big or small, anything you take from the beach that doesn't belong there is a big help. So I see a couple people coming in. Somebody says sea purse, ? And somebody said shark egg. All right, so we've got some good naturalists in the audience. Somebody said a baleen from a whale. Good guess. It does look kind of furry down on that end. So for those of you that said a shark egg or a sea purse, you're really close. This is often called a mermaid's purse. And I absolutely love that name. Just imagining what a mermaid purse would look like. If you were a mermaid, what kind of purse would you carry? And mermaid's purse is actually an egg casing for a shark or a skate, which is a type of marine animal, a cartilaginous fish. So if everybody goes ahead and takes their kind of upper part of their ear, we all know that's cartilage, right? So that's what these animals are mostly kind of made of. So this is from a cartilaginous fish, and I've been trying to identify the exact species that this came from, and I've been kind of talking to some of my biologists, marine biologist friends, and the closest identification I've gotten so far is that this might be from a big skate. Now, some of you might or might not know what a skate is, and you might think it is something that's like a ray. So maybe like a stingray or a bat ray or a round ray. And there's actually a few differences between skates and rays, and this is probably from a skate. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you a picture of a big skate so you can see what it looks like and really see how big it is. Hopefully you can see this okay. Down here is somebody's foot, and they can be pretty big. So they're sort of like these diamond-shaped, they have like a diamond-shaped, really flat body. And that might tell you something about the habitat that they might like to live in. as well as this view behind me. You might be able to tell what kind of habitat this is. Just to give you a little bit of a visual or verbal picture, I'm standing in sort of a system of really beautiful sand dunes, and those dunes sort of like fall out into the sea on this long sandy peninsula. Okay, so generally I always say that if you're kind of at a beach or looking out into the ocean, you can kind of tell what the underwater area looks like just based on what's around you. So looking at this beach with all the sand that goes all the way down the peninsula, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a sandy bottom marine environment. And the bodies of rays and skates are sort of perfectly designed to live in this really flat habitat, and they'll often sort of hide and feed in the sand. So I believe that this mermaid's purse is from a big skate, and that tells me, since I found this on the beach right here, that those animals live right off of our shore, so in our marine protected area. People don't really eat skates very much. I've heard that they're not so tasty. Like I said, they're cartilaginous fish, sort of relatives of sharks. And let me just get something right here. One thing that's really interesting about this thing, the mermaid's purse, or this egg casing, is that, and it's sort of something that distinguishes sharks from rays from skates. Rays will have live birth often, or they're viviparous, and skates actually are oviparous, meaning that or oviparous, meaning that they actually sort of lay these egg casings that then house their little embryo, and eventually that little tiny version of that adult animal will kind of break out of this casing, and that's how they're born. So this once held a very small little skate, and if you're lucky enough to find one of these or see one underwater, if maybe you're a diver or a sea explorer of some kind, or maybe you see one that's fresh on the beach, if you kind of hold it up to the light, if you're lucky, you might even be able to see that small little animal kind of squirming around in this little case. So you can see there's a little hole right here. I'm not sure if that's where the animal came out or if that's just sort of, a puncture that happened at another time. But here's our little mermaid's purse. I think it's pretty cool. If you're a kid watching this, maybe you have some ideas of how a mermaid might design their handbag or their backpack. So maybe draw a little picture of what you think a mermaid's purse would look like if it doesn't look like this. And so I just wanted to share this cool thing with you. Mermaid's purse. If you ever see these on the beach, take a closer look and see if there's maybe something inside. Maybe, again, use that iNaturalist app, snap a photo. Maybe a naturalist out there can identify what type of skate it came from. And I hope that you all learned a little bit about a marine protected area, or this marine protected area today, and you realize that whatever you see on the beach near a marine protected area or a park gives you clues as to what animals live there. So what type of habitat there is and what type of animals rely on that habitat. So I hope that was fun and inspiring, and I hope that you all have a chance to get out for a walk today. And even if you're not near the beach, maybe this has been like the equivalent of fresh salt air on your face. We miss you in our parks, and we can't wait to see you soon. Thanks everybody for practicing good social distancing. I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands and do all the great things to keep myself and my community safe. And tune in next Monday at 3 p.m. to learn something else about marine protection.